Okay, it's wood getting day again, and we're in the early part of the spring, actually just a few days in, and so we're trying to get up enough wood for next winter. So I'm stacking my wood here, and it's time to start the end stack, which is talked about a lot on the internet, but I'm going to offer a couple of suggestions today which you may not have thought about before. Basically speaking, we have 4 different types of wood once we have most of our wood busted. We have the full round, we have the wedge, triangle, whatever you want to call it. There's the half round, and then there's the square rectangular block. For the end of our stack, we're going to focus primarily on the 2 on my left hand side here, and the block and the half round. This will offer the most stability when building your stack. The challenge is always to do it to where it's stable and it's not going to fall as you're doing it, nor in the year or so while the firewood is dry. First of all, I like to start off with putting my firewood up on pallets when possible. But as we do the firewood stacks, you have to tie things together so that it doesn't move. So what I'm going to offer as a few suggestions is to use some recyclable materials that you may have laying around, and can reuse it and get some more use out of it. So on the ground here are 4 different components. One is the pallet itself. So we could use another old pallet, dismantle it, and use the boards. We can also take, for example, some of these pallets have been used for rocks, so therefore they've got wire mesh around the outside. So I've taken some of that and cut it into strips. We'll use some of that. And then there's even a fertilizer bag. So it's a plastic fertilizer bag. And then lastly is an old spent tarp. So this tarp has pretty much seen its better days, but we're still going to get some use out of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the rectangular square blocks on the bottom. You can see my pallet boards are running this direction in line with the stack. So I'm going to start my bottom row with the block perpendicular to these boards to give more stability so that it will not be as apt to crush my pallet. So what we have to do, we have to start off with as stable a stack as we can get underway. So we have to find the right piece of the block that's going to offer that. And so you have to kind of sort. There's nothing magic here, but you do have to get it pretty stable. Make sure that it fits, kind of like putting together a piece of puzzle, if you will. So we get started, and we just keep laying one after the other. This is not an elegant job. I mean, it's dirty work, it's hard work. But if you're like me, my day job puts me behind a computer, behind a desk. And so I love to be outside, and there's very few ways to do that better than getting firewood. I do have a wood-fired water stove. I'm in North Carolina, so I've got the Hicks brand of water stove, which is a good stove. Not the most efficient in the world, but as a result of that, I go through a lot of firewood. So as you can see, I've got a few rows here. Now to stabilize this, I'm going to reach and grab, since we're down low, we don't need a whole lot of strength. I'm going to reach and grab this fertilizer bag. Again, nothing special, nothing elegant, but it's going to help tie some of this together. So since I've got a good stable base, I can reach and grab some nice half rounds here. And again, sometimes you may have to come back and restabilize, rebuild a little bit. Again, nothing magic, it's just some good hard work. After you've come up a few rows, then what I highly recommend is you come over here to your rounds and your wedges, and you start backfilling. This also offers some good stability and gets the stack going. Now, some people go as far as to measure their wood and cut it perfectly to 16 or 18 inch lengths. I can assure you I do not. It's quicker, faster when I'm running a chainsaw. You know, as much as I've cut up through the years, I can certainly see that I'm shorter than 24 inches, which is what I need to stay below on my wood splitter, and 16 to 18 inches is just approximate anyway. So anyway, as you can see, I backfill in. Once you get up some additional height, then we're going to lay some wire mesh in there to give us some more strength. So now that we have the end of our stack built up just a little bit, and it's also backfilled, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a piece of this wire, again, that came off of the pallet that handled rocks. So this is similar to wire to what I've used for my dog lots in the past. But we're going to take this wire, we're going to lay it in here, and then we're going to stack wood on top of it. So if you've ever laid any brick or block, use basically a similar technique to tie them together to add strength. It's just reinforcement wire, if you will. So anyway, we come in here, and again, it's got some flexibility, so it's going to conform to your stack of wood. Then you're going to come over here and add some additional rounds so that you can go up higher. Again, folks, this is not magic, and you may even get it wrong. Lord knows I do at times. But you try to put it in here, it keeps you from having to sink a post hoe, put some type of post in the ground. Saves you possibly a little money if you have to go buy a metal post. And we've all done that. I've done that. Even on my other stack over there, I have some fence posts that I use. So anyway, you just keep coming up with your stack. If you can actually build it to where it tapers in a little bit, that's a good technique as well. That way, again, gravity's working with you instead of against you. So that's basically the content set, folks. And then, like I said before, instead of the reinforcement wire, you could even lay some cut pieces of tarp in here and let that be your tie-in. One more thing to consider here, guys, as you come up with your two stacks, even though we're tied back into the stack, as you can see with the tarp here, and then over here we use the wire and the bag, we still have some sideways shake, and winds can get up pretty high at times, and we certainly don't want our stacks to turn over. So what you can do here on the end is, for example, take your wire, lay it from stack to stack, and then finish up the height on top of the wire. So that ties the two stacks together. That ties the end of the stack back into the rest of your wood, and so it creates a very stable end of your stack. Okay, so here it is, folks. We've finished up the end stacks. As you can see, the one stack I constructed it so that it's leaning in, as I talked about it initially. The other stack is more vertical in nature, and you can see where I've used the bag, the tarp, the wire to tie it all together. So this should be here for a while, guys, and so hopefully it'll dry out really nice this summer so we can use it in the winter. Thank you.